Good afternoon. This is Average Discussion. You're listening to The Lunch Break. I'm your host, Chris. Today is December 5th, 2023. Thank you for joining me today in Studio House, as I'm not in Studio Silverado as I usually am. I had the opportunity to leave work a little early thanks to a dentist appointment, and I've got some time to kill. So let's get into it. I'd like to say that my slurred speech is probably from the dentist. However, it's probably just because I struggle with speaking sometimes. No, my mouth is a little dry thanks to all the crap that they did, but it is what it is. I didn't get one of these out yesterday. I had some interesting things at work, which I'll talk about in this podcast, that kind of took up the time that I was going to allot towards it. So I also did not get a chance to call that buddy of mine and get that interview done. I need to do that. So Avon, if you're listening, I don't know how to pronounce your new name. I don't know that it's a new name, but it's what you go by now. I don't know how to pronounce it, and in spirit of the conversation we were already going to be talking about, I'd hate to offend you. So still do plan on doing that, but at that point it might not even be worth it. But I think it would still be interesting nonetheless. So, but here we are into December, and, 'tis the season to be broke. So I hope you guys are doing okay. You haven't wasted all your money on stuff that we don't really need. But I know that's kind of the season. So, but you know what else is part of the season? Is losing your stuff, right? So I saw there's this county Facebook page that we have here. Excuse me. And on there was a picture of a driver's license. And it said, hey, so-and-so, you dropped this at the store. I found it. I have it if you want it type thing, right? And I feel like that's as low as you can get to getting some kind of credit for being a good Samaritan, right? Because, it's almost better to just turn it in at the store and then make your post, right? Which maybe they did. I don't know, but it didn't appear that way. Because the driver's license literally has your address on it. And if you lived in a big city where maybe that's like 30, 40 minutes out of your way, I guess I could kind of see that. But out here where I live, nothing's really that far away. At least you could, and if it is that far away, you could really just be generous and take it out there. But I've always found those posts interesting. Like you find a debit card, okay, I get that. But you find a driver's license, it legitimately has their address on it. And anybody who's ever had to go get that kind of stuff, I think they would really appreciate if you just brought back their old one. So I've always found those things interesting. But the other thing that I found very interesting on that Facebook page was they took a picture, right? So they took a picture of the car in front of them, and it had expired tags. I think they expired in like July or something like that, July of this year. So yeah, it's bad, but it's not even really that bad. But they blasted them all over this page. And there's a lot of people on this page for the county, right? And just snitching on their neighbors. Like, you know what? Fuck you, Colonel Karen. Okay? I hope you stub your pinky toe. Car registrations drive me crazy as is. I absolutely despise it. Absolutely hate it. I can get into a whole spiel about that. But the level, like, what kind of a good Samaritan act do you really feel like you're doing? Like, do you really feel like you're saving the world or saving the population because you blasted this person out on social media? Because there's probably a ton of cops that follow that. If I was a cop, I'd follow that shit. People post dumb stuff. They probably incriminate themselves. Probably make their job really easy. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's just my take on it. I guess maybe, I don't come from the stock where, it's obey the government, no questions asked type thing. So I don't see the big deal with that. But I guess, there could be a population of people that are like, this is everything that's wrong with America. Like if people would just register their vehicles, we wouldn't have inflation. I don't know what their cause would be, but I do feel like, you don't need to waste your time blasting somebody for that. I'd be pretty pissed. I'd be really pissed actually, especially if I was like, because it's one thing I guess if you just have like an F it mentality, right? If you're just like, I'm not gonna do this because I hate the government, right? But it's entirely another. It's like you're doing everything you can to get by, And that's $70 to $150 because it didn't, you know, that $70 to $150, whatever it is, you know, that is just too much, right? And so like you're doing everything you can to get. I mean, shit, you go to the grocery store, you spend $200, and you leave with enough bags that you can carry. That's ridiculous, right? So if it's a situation like that, I really feel bad. License plate, man, that's easy pickings for the damn police. You know, if they catch them, they catch them. It is what it is. But don't do their job for them. You know what I mean? I don't know. Call me crazy. That's just like the lowest of the low, and that literally feels like it's a post that would come from somebody complaining about, you know, I don't know, getting pie instead of cake at a cookout. You know, oh, you brought pie? I want a cake. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me. Fill me in. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, is that something that would piss you guys off? You know, and just mind your own damn business. You know what? Actually, you know what? I'll say it. If they would have been doing the damn speed limit, they probably wouldn't have had time to take a picture. But since everybody wants to drive 15 miles under the speed limit, we're going slow enough, we get bored. So, how about you just do the speed limit? We ain't got to worry about it. It's none of your damn business. Drives me crazy. But in other news, busy weekend for NFL football. I haven't covered any sports in a long time, mainly because I stopped watching them as much as, you know, but I do fantasy football with some friends of mine and my family and stuff, and I don't know, so I end up watching a lot of it, and you know what, why not? Throw it in there. If you didn't have a chance, or if you're not interested in football, sorry, I don't like baseball. Baseball is not my thing, but I've never been interested in golf or tennis either, so, and basketball is just, I really like basketball, but I have a hard time following it the way I used to. So you're going to get NFL stuff. If you're looking for college stuff, there's plenty of sports shows out there. You can go get that. So today I'm going to cover a little bit of NFL news, just simply because I don't do it all that often, right? So just a quick breakdown, though. Here's your AFC playoff picture as of right now. You got you got Miami at number 1, Baltimore at number 2, Kansas City at number 3, Jacksonville at number 4, Pittsburgh at number 5, Cleveland at number 6. In the NFC, you got Philadelphia at 10-2. They're in the number 1 spot. You got San Francisco at 9-3, Detroit at 9-3, Atlanta at 6-6, Dallas at the 5th spot at 9-3, Minnesota at the 6th spot at 6-6. That is the most infuriating. That's the most upsetting part of being a Dallas Cowboys fan to me, is that we have a good year. I mean, we're 9-3 on the season, and we're fighting for a 5th spot in the playoffs. And listen, no, hands down, like Philadelphia is doing their thing. But man, did they get their ass kicked by the 49ers yesterday? I mean, it was just an ass whooping. I don't want to give the wrong numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it up real fast. But it was just, it was horrible. It started out strong, right? It started out looking like Philadelphia was going to, you know, kind of control the tempo and control the pace. And then the 49ers just came out swinging, man. And it ended up being 42-19. Had a player get kicked out, some big security guy for Philadelphia. I'm not gonna get into that. It was stupid. It was dumb. I don't really know why you need your head of security down on the field. Whatever. It ain't none of my business. I don't really think it was that big of a deal, but the refs did. They kicked both of them out. But the Eagles got absolutely torched. And it worked out for me in my fantasy league because I went and took a gamble. I stole Deebo Samuel, ended up on the waiver wire. I ended up stealing that from a buddy of mine. Shout out to him. He knows who it is. And I literally had Deebo, Ayuk, and Kittle as my receiving core. And I knew it was a gamble, right? Because, you know, if Brock Purdy has a bad game, I'm screwed. But it ended up paying off in my favor, and I ended up coming back. I was down like 60 points at the start of that game. Came back and won it. But the Eagles, they absolutely got their ass kicked. A lot of things just weren't working for them. I think their defense is probably obviously at 42-19, right? But I think their defense got exposed a little bit. And let me see if I can pull up the rest of their schedule real fast, because I knew it until I was going to talk about it. You know what I mean? But uh, now I can't think of it. I mean, even with that loss, though, right? I do feel like the Eagles are going to be in the NFC Championship. And they're probably going to play the 49ers. And I'm saying that as a Cowboys fan. And that's hard to say as a Cowboys fan. I just don't know that Dallas can beat them. And what I mean by that is I think they could beat them. But I don't. Dallas tends to shoot themselves in the foot. You know, every time that they've got a golden opportunity, they always just seem to shoot themselves in the foot. It's been my whole life. I mean, I became a Cowboys fan in the 90s. I was young. Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin, all those guys, they were the coolest thing on the planet, right? So I gravitated towards that. And literally since then, it's literally been the story, right? Like every time they get a shot, they find a way to shoot themselves in the foot. So Philadelphia goes to Dallas this coming Sunday. And I know Dallas is really good at home. They've been doing really good. But I know Dallas has the personnel to beat them. I just don't know if they've got the heart to beat them. You know what I'm saying? And Philadelphia is going to have to come out swinging because they just got embarrassed by probably their only competition. I mean, I'm going to say it. I think that the 49ers are probably their only competition. I mean, that team is so stacked. I've said it all season long. I could probably go out there with a cigarette in my hand, and I feel 80% confident we're gonna win the game, and I'm gonna throw some touchdowns because that team is stacked. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Brock Purdy. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. I'm just saying they've got a lot of offensive weapons, and so they're a really good team, and I would argue they're Philadelphia's biggest competition, and they got completely embarrassed. So they're going to go into Dallas with something to prove, and I don't know that I trust Dallas to be able to stop that. So, but anyways, they go to Dallas, then they got Seattle. Seattle's one of those teams, like, you can't ever really count them out, but I think they win that one too. So really, and then they got New York, Arizona, and then New York. Yeah. So really, Dallas has got to beat them here because the way I see it, their next 4 out of 5 games are probably wins. So that would put them at what, 14 and 3 if Dallas beats them. Like, that's a pretty damn good record. You know what I mean? So, but being a Dallas fan and going 9 and 3 is good for us. You know what I mean? Like, we feel really good about that. And then shitty ass teams like, I guess not shitty ass teams like Atlanta, but teams that are 6 and 6 or 500 on the year having opportunities. It's just frustrating, And I didn't even look at the. I'm gonna have to look at that real quick. Let me pull that up. I didn't even look at the standings for the AFC. I didn't look at their win totals. So let me get back to that real fast. I don't want to just talk out my rear end, which is pretty much all I do anyways. But I feel better about it if there's something in front of me to kind of, like, I don't know, somewhat give me some facts. You know what I mean? So you got the Dolphins at 9 and 3, Baltimore at 9 and 3. Kansas City at 8 and 4, Jacksonville at 8 and 4. But they did lose Trevor Lawrence last night, at least for a little while. The report said high ankle sprain. I didn't really look into it to see if there was any time frame, but so that could be detrimental to them, which sucks because I was rooting for them. Somehow, and this is the one that gets me. Somehow, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 7 and 5. I either need to watch more of their games or somebody's really got to. Let's look at their schedule, because how in the hell are they 7 and 5? I mean, they had Mitch Trubisky playing, right? Am I wrong about that? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's who was playing for him. All right, let's see. So they beat Cleveland, they beat Las Vegas, they beat Baltimore, they beat the Rams, they beat the Titans, Green Bay, and Cincinnati. I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, Trubisky played. So, I don't know. You got to explain to me, because what I have seen of them, they're just not a very good football team. I don't understand how they're 7 and 5. But hey, I guess that's why I'm on the sidelines out here just watching and they're playing, right? I mean, I don't want to take it away from them, but when I look at all these other teams, I cannot believe that they're even in the playoff picture. Um, yeah, pretty wild. Pretty wild. So that's kind of your playoff breakdown right now as it sits. But a lot could change. I think I really think in the NFC in particular, I think it'll be Philadelphia and San Francisco in the championship. Just because, like I said, I can't trust at this point in my life, after years and years of watching them shoot themselves in the foot, I cannot trust Dallas to get there. I'll be excited if they are, but I'll tell you what, I'm not putting my money on it. I've been let down time and time again. So I really think the NFC will shape up to be Philadelphia and San Francisco playing each other again. The AFC, I would have said Kansas City till I watched that game yesterday. Everything just looks tough for them. Everything just looks like it's really, really hard. And I don't know how long you can get away with that. I think they definitely need some, I don't want to say they need better receivers, but they need something to happen with their receivers. Their defense is pretty good. Excuse me. So, I don't know. Everything looked really, really hard for them. And maybe that was just a byproduct of the game itself. But, man, after watching that game on Sunday, I really don't know if they're going to make it all the way to the championship game. That's all I'm saying. I think they definitely still make the playoffs. I don't think any of that's going anywhere. So, who did they play again? The Packers, yeah. Oh, man, Jordan Love had a pretty good game. That was kind of like his coming out game, I think. I'd be interested to see if he can do the same thing, next week moving forward. But in that game, everything just looked really, really, every first down, everything just looked really, really hard. And I'd like to say that's because the Packers have an elite defense, but I don't think that's the case, man. I think there's some other stuff going on, and I just don't know if they can hang on to make it deep into the playoffs. So I think at the moment, Trevor Lawrence hadn't gone down. I'd say they were a contender. But if he's going to be out for a few weeks, I think they're going to drop down, especially if fucking Pittsburgh wins or some stupid shit. Like, why are they even in the playoffs? It's crazy in the playoff bracket. But so probably Miami and Baltimore. I don't know. Not really sure. We'll see. I mean, it's an interesting turn of events, but I don't think any of those teams could beat Philadelphia or San Francisco, though. Maybe Miami. Because they do have that explosive offense. And clearly Philadelphia's secondary is in trouble. I mean, Deebo Samuel, he ran all over them guys. So Miami might be able to beat Philadelphia, I think. Obviously, any team can beat them. I'm just looking at it from what I've seen throughout the season. Baltimore's one of those teams, like, man, when they're hot, they're hot. But when they are not, holy cow, it's a bad day. So I don't know if Baltimore could. I really, as much as it pains me to say it because I'm not a 49ers fan, I really think that they've got a solid shot to get to the Super Bowl because, man, that team just is loaded with talent and they've got it figured out. So, I don't know. That's my take on the NFL. Call me crazy. There's probably some justification to that. I'm not going to say otherwise, but that Bengals game last night, though, was pretty wild. Bengals-Jaguars game. Jake Browning had a phenomenal night. Phenomenal. I think it was like 32 of 37. Let me see real fast. Yeah, 32 of 37 for 354 yards and a touchdown. Like, that's all you can't ask for more out of a backup than that. That was pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie. Beathard did okay when he came in for Lawrence. I mean, Lawrence was having a good game too. He was 22 for 29, 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, like, he was having a really good game. Gets injured. Beathard comes in, and it was just they did the best that they could. That was a good game. It was nice to have a competitive, wild, and exciting game on primetime instead of the Bears and the Patriots or some god awful experience to watch. Like, those teams are so hard to watch. It's not even funny. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to get upset, man. I'm having a good day. Like I said, I left work early. I don't want to get upset about it. So, but yeah. So you didn't catch those games. You missed a lot, especially the ass whooping that the 49ers put on Philadelphia. Um, Crazy. I am looking forward to the game this Sunday between Dallas and Philadelphia because it's important. It's a high level. Like if Dallas can beat Philadelphia, and if the Giants can pull out one win out of the 2-game series that they got coming up towards the end, and I know that's a long shot, but if they can pull out one win, that really opens the door for them. And I mean, I hate seeing like Atlanta and Minnesota at 6-6 being included in the conversation. You know what I mean? So it's like all this could be for nothing if they can't get this win. And that's not to knock Minnesota. I think they're doing good with their situation. They've had some really key injuries, and they've done well. Again, I just cannot for the life of me understand how Pittsburgh is at 7. What did I say? 7-5. That's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. But anyways, I said I'd get to it a little bit later. But the reason my time got taken up yesterday from when I would normally record was because we have some homeless thievery going on at my job. Yeah. So without pointing fingers, some people left our propane tank storage unit. They left it unlocked. And they left it unlocked over the holiday weekend, and we were actually closed for the holiday weekend, which is amazing because, yeah, we don't close. And so, but anyways, we closed for the holiday, and these guys, they drove right up, and they helped themselves to some propane containers. But then after looking at it more, like, man, there was more in there even after that. Well, it turns out they came back on Sunday after our crew had left for the day, and decided to help themselves with some more. So, I know there's a bunch of, I call them gypsy camps, but, a bunch of homeless encampments kind of around the area where I work. Real big industrial area. They're constantly just kind of moving from open area to open area because the cops will kick them out or whatever. And, I'm on the fence about it. I really am, because on one side of me, I'm like, man, what can we do to like help this situation, right? They shouldn't have to find a parking lot or a street that's gonna get them by for a few days. Like there has to be a better option, right? I don't really know what that is, but I feel like we could brainstorm it, right? So I'm stuck at that point. But then I'm like, okay, every time they kick these guys out, like there's massive amounts of trash, and we've caught them in our dumpsters a few times trying to take out like scrap metal and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, like I don't really care too much about that. I'm just obligated to tell them they have to leave if we see them. You know what I mean? But the propane thing, like that's kind of critical to our operation, right? So that one we got to take a little bit more seriously. But we had the description of the vehicle, obviously from the video, and we actually had a license plate. And of course, we'll turn it into the cops. Yeah. We got to do all that anyways for the insurance claim. But I'm like, let's go find these guys, right? So I'm driving all around the industrial area, and I'm literally in my Google Maps plotting, and I got a folder called Gypsy Camps, and I'm plotting it out, and I'm scoping everything out, and I see a bunch of containers, propane containers that look like they could have came from our facility. I honestly have no way of validating that. Excuse me. I have no way of validating that, but they look like the ones that we use. But I never saw the truck. I found the camps of like the 2 or 3 other guys that we've ran out from the dumpsters a few times and all that good stuff, right? But never found the truck that was on the video. And but anyways, so I'm really on the fence about it because I understand why they took it. It's cold outside, man. It's like I don't know what the temperature is right now. Well, this is saying 35 degrees, but I was just outside and it felt a lot warmer than that. But let's see. So right now, it's 49 degrees. But it's supposed to drop down to 30 tonight. And, the last couple nights have been a little cooler. And so, like, I totally understand why they do it. And I kind of feel bad that we have to make it a big deal. Because I can tell you right now, if I was in their shoes, I'd be doing the same thing. Right? So, like, I hit this wall where I'm like, that sympathy factor, but the go fuck yourself factor at the same time. Excuse me. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but that's where I get with it. And it does suck. It does suck that, my boss, my boss, he actually probably said it best. He's like, damn, I guess I'm the man that's coming down on everybody these days. You know what I mean? Because I think he feels generally the same way, like, we don't really blame him, but damn it, like, now we have to do something about this. And like, we've been trying to be cool about it, not make a big deal out of it. Just, hey guys, you got to go, get out of here. And, it kind of backfired on us, but we are definitely the honey hole, and they're definitely sharing that info with their camps, because literally I saw at least 3 vehicles that I've seen scout, or what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever, taking stuff from our dumpsters, right? I seen like 3 of them vehicles, and they were at different locations. So clearly they're chatting. Clearly we're on the radar of the goodies. So I'm not surprised. And the worst part is that it could have been avoided if people would have just locked the damn cage. But it is what it is. But that's what I was out doing yesterday, man. I was out, hunting people down, trying to do my best detective. And I guess I should probably just stick to doing shitty podcasts and being a maintenance manager. So, because I didn't find them. I feel a certain kind of way about that, by the way. I really do. Lost my touch. It's a damn shame. But man, I don't know. Because like I said, I go back and forth on it, right? Like, part of me is like, oh, there's a situation that sucks. But then you hear about the people who choose that lifestyle, right? And everybody's like, oh, most of them are, got mental issues. Well, I can tell you right now, the ones jumping in our dumpsters ain't got no damn mental issues. They understand just fine. They're not out there. They're not the ones that are, stabbing themselves in the face and harming themselves and talking to walls and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but then at the same time, I'm like, well, shit, man. Like, it ain't cheap to live right now. And, maybe it's that case. But, we've even hired people. Like, one guy, he literally showed up with his RV. And then I guess he just thought it was normal to take an hour and a half break, So he ended up getting fired, And so it's like, man, even when you try to help them, they don't want to help themselves. Is the vibe you get, right? But then, obviously you see all the sob stories and you hear all the justifications and the amount of people that are put out and getting cold and hungry and all that stuff, And it's like, man, I don't know how to figure out who fits in what category. Right, so I find myself, a lot of times, I find myself just kind of being judgmental. So, I don't know. But that's why I wasn't able to get to one yesterday. And not that I couldn't have stopped and done it, because I definitely could have. But I was really hoping I'd find that Chevy Silverado, early 2000s, 2-wheel drive, long bed, no tailgate, 2-door, banged up truck bed, dents on the driver and passenger side. I was really hoping I'd find that guy. Here I am, early for a dentist appointment, doing a podcast about how bad people are, man. Snitching on each other for off. Anyways, that's the show. Hope you enjoy it. Sorry it's a little late. I guess it'll probably be more of a I don't know, evening commute. But sorry I got too late. But either way, as always, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you guys you're doing well. So please until next time.